Hello. Just giving it a minute for anyone who wants to come in. Um, this won't be a very long stream. Just wanted to go over some of the new features and highlights Blizzard has shared with us today regarding what's in store, what's coming with the War Within expansion, which is slated to drop later this year. I know we're all waiting with bated breath for next week when season 4, the final season of Dragonflight, drops. And season 4 begins the following week for Mythic Plus Dungeons, as well as the new Fated raids are returning, similar to what we had in Shadowlands. So that will be brand new. It will also bring with it a little bit of a learning curve for people because it will be required for some new gearing updates as every season. Everyone will be running trying to get their new bested slots, upgraded gear that's specific to the season, and all that jazz. But we have gotten some new info too of what's to come past season 4, which will be the War Within. And it looks different for a lot of different things. And there will be definitely a bit of a learning curve for older players who have been in the game for a while and are used to certain things the way they are and how things will change. So, showing off my new mount I finally earned this week with the final quest I required for Legendary Album, in which I was finally able to complete the big, huge achievement for a World Woken, which rewarded Taven, which is a mount we've all been asking for some time. I do not believe this is his current final size. He was recently made a little smaller than intended, and they did promise us by the drop of next week's expansion, 10.2.7, he'll be back to his original size. So I cannot wait to compare what his size ultimately will be when they put him back to what they intended him to be, because he is supposed to be one big boy, and right now he's not that big. But this is Taven. So, and if you didn't know, the achievement for a World Woken, it looks lengthy because it's broken up zone by zone. Um, but completing each one of the zones along the path also rewards you with other mounts. For example, hitting across the Isles, which requires you to do the Waking Shore zone, um, chasing the storms, doing quite a lot of those things. They also reward mounts. So there's mounts along the journey that will help break it up for you. So when I got my final quest completed with the photograph of Nate Pagel, I was also able to finish my last two that gave me mounts, which was Across the Isles and Wake Me Up. So it is a lengthy achievement, but just break it into sections and you'll be able to knock it out of the park. Something to work on too, right? Alright, so first and foremost, let's talk about some changes that are coming that are good in relation to flying. Flying is one of those things that since we had dragon riding, which is new for dragon flight, introduced, um, there has been quite a bit of questions as to what will happen going into the future. And today we got a sneak peek of what Blizzard has in store for us in the future, including changing Dragonflight into the brand new form, which they're calling Dynamic Flight, and how it works with other mounts earned in this game, besides just the dragon riding specifics. So there's a little video that shows us what's a coming. Let me back it up to the beginning.
Get ready for a new era of flight. Formerly known as dragon riding, Dynamic Flight brings the newest, fastest, most active way to travel to old zones and new. From the leveling campaign through endgame on hundreds of your favorite flying mounts. Let's explore everything you need to know about Dynamic Flight in The War Within. World of Warcraft Dragonflight introduced adventurers to a completely new way of traversing Azeroth called dragon riding. This faster, more immersive form of flight reinvented how heroes explored the Dragon Isles. Dragon riding made flying an active experience, allowing players to ascend, surge, break, and whirl through the landscape at breakneck speeds on customizable mounts. Players took to the skies in the open world, dungeons, and the final raid, as well as pushed their limits in race courses throughout the world. In The War Within, Dynamic Flight is being improved and expanded upon, keeping core elements like vigor-based abilities in place, while granting players earlier access, more mounts to choose from, more courses to race on, and the ability to toggle between dynamic and traditional flight modes. As early as level 15, or even earlier if you're a Drakthir, characters will be able to learn dynamic flying, allowing new champions to navigate older zones and experience leveling like never before. Dynamic flight skills will be earned as a part of leveling up, allowing players to fill out the skill tree as they progress. For players coming into The War Within at level 70, Dynamic Flight will be available early in the Isle of Dorn, and upon unlocking, flying mounts will be equipped with all their talents. This means that finding glyphs will not be tied to dynamic flight progression. But for Mavericks who enjoy the thrill of the hunt, glyphs in the Dragon Isles will remain in place, purely for achievement. If, however, you prefer the more passive style of flying introduced in Burning Crusade, you can toggle between dynamic flight and traditional flight modes. In previously existing zones, the ability to switch will be available immediately at launch. And in Khazalgar, switching becomes available after leveling through and exploring the new lands thoroughly. At The War Within's launch, over 440 mounts will be converted to enable dynamic flight. With more than 200 unique models and over 50 fundamentally different shapes and sizes, conversion has been a significant undertaking that allows you to once again show off the shining stars of your collection. Favorites like Ashes of Alar, Invincible, Gmod, the Sandstone Drake, and the Hivemind will all be capable of dynamic flight. With all your old favorites available, there will be no shortage of mounts to tout, but 2 special mounts are worth seeking out as well. The Delver's Dirigible, earnable through the all-new Delves feature, is a cosmetically mega customizable mount with color, nose, wings, thrusters, top, and even decal options that continue to expand as you progress. The Elgarian Stormrider is one of a kind, featuring a unique vigor bar in its user interface. It also comes with a special ability called Lightning Rush, which can give you a boost of speed without spending vigor, by expending static charges that accumulate when flying near walls. Lightning Rush is expanding to other mounts starting in The War Within, allowing everyone to both zip and zap around. Racing will also continue to push pilots to the peak of their capabilities. New courses will be available in each new zone, offering a brand new circuit of achievements and an exciting way to explore various landmarks and landscapes throughout Khazalgar. Are you ready for a whole new era of dynamic flight? Mount up and actively soar through Khazalgar and beyond in The War Within.
Woohoo! So, a couple things of note in that video. is yes, Dragonflight, as I said earlier, is being converted to Dynamic Flight. It will be the new way we experience the world going forward, leaving Dragonflight behind, which is kind of interesting. Um, One of the mounts they mentioned was the Algarian. It does come from the pre-purchase for the War Within. It is one of my favorites, and the reason being is because of that special ability that they mentioned called Lightning Rush. And apparently, from what was previewed today, with the over 440 mounts as mentioned, there's 446 of them that have been converted. They'll have something similar because some of the symbols are showing a lightning to it. So they had said this was the first of its kind. It's unique of its kind, but it shows you what Dynamic has in store. Now, what they did say about flight is level 15s will learn the dynamic flight immediately once they hit 15. If you're Evoker, you get it earlier, and I believe it's level 10 because it's built into your racial. Um, so that's kind of cool. We'll be able to use it in the greater world. For level 70s entering the new zone for War Within, the Isle of Dorn, which has got several different parts to it. Apparently, a lot of the dynamic abilities, the faster animation writing, will open up as you progress through the story and through the Isles. So I imagine it all won't be open until you hit the max level of 80, which is the new one to do for the upcoming War Within. But it's nice to see Invincible. It's nice to see quite a lot of different mounts being added. From what the list showed today, the spell tome from the achievement mount from doing the Mage Tower is included. So is the broom that we got in a couple months ago from the trading post. So there's a wide range of mounts, which is kind of cool. So that will come in handy. Um, let's see. It's going to change it all too. The other part that they mentioned was you'll be able to toggle it on and off. So right now, if you are wanting to ride a regular mount in World of Warcraft, you unfortunately have to mount up on one and use it because they have not been given the dynamics. Same with using a dragon riding mount. If you want to use it, you have to get on that particular mount, which will give you your abilities to use, whether you're zipping, surging, whirling, whatever it may be. Nice thing is that apparently there'll be an option to toggle between the two, so that'll be a nice feature. A couple other things that were discussed that we know about that have been released was made available through Blizzard, who gave us a preview of what is to come, what we can look forward to. And a lot of that is concerning how the war bands will work, which is a given feature for the upcoming expansion. It is at their website. You can read all about it. From what it looks like, it's going over all the basics of what a warband is. What does it mean to have a warband? How does it work? Because they're trying to change from you're a character or a person who plays one character or has an army of alts to account wide progression with all of your alts rather than them being individual, with a few exceptions. As was one of the features that was explained in the Q&A with the introduction of War Within, was that we'd be able to learn each other's class specific appearances. So farming would now be easier in relation to gaining armor added to your transmog collections. So plate, if you had a piece that dropped for cloth, you'd be able to learn that and be added to your inventory right away, which is awesome. Some pieces are harder to get than others. But with that said, a plate wearer cannot learn tier specific pieces of another class. So I'm sorry, but a paladin is not going to be able to earn and learn a piece for priest or for warlock or mage because they're class specific. Anything specific to your particular class will still be locked. So if you have a rogue and you're after a particular tier set from a previous expansion or new expansion, you'll still have to farm it on that too. If you're going after the current, you'll still have to do it with the 4 different classes: mail, plate, leather, cloth. The other part to it is conversion of reputations. In the past, all of our reputations have been done by one tune. They did make a slight change a while ago when they gave us a particular mount that everyone liked, which, let me see if I can find him, was the 100 reputation mount. One of the flying coursers. And what they did with him, the Pure Heart Courser, what they did with this particular mount was the 100 exalted reputations was switched from only one toon earning the 100 reputations to across your count. So if you had 10, 15 that were on another toon, it got accumulated into one. Similar idea to what they did with earning honor across your count for PvP. It's now instead of per toon, it's across your count. So this was an introduction to the first concept of amalgamating everything you earn on your account across all your toons to have a benefit. So the warband reputations are going to be similar, where instead of having to learn renown on per character to unlock certain things, they will share it. And the other nice thing that was mentioned was not only in reputation, but in leveling. As you level through for every toon that gets so far in the new zone, they'll get 5% bonus for leveling, which your next ult coming through will get that advantage. And if you do two, then it will stack 10%. So the next one going through on level 3 will have a 10% advantage to level faster, and so on and so on. I think it caps at a certain point. We'll have to see, but that's kind of nice. So it's advantage that way. The only exceptions to the account-wide reputation that they've advised us they're changing is that not everything can be accessible for reputations to be shared across the board. And a lot of that is because there are some things that will still be considered specific to a toon, specific to what you're doing. So, for example, let me see if I can bring this up for you. So, the examples that they gave us are these reputations. And these reputations would be ones that are character specific, like the Winterpelt Furbolg, or the Glimrog Racer, which was the snail racing done in the caverns for Dragonflight. They feel more like they're a personal standing, so they won't be converted to be beneficial across all your toons. If you want to be able to speak with the Winterpelt Furbolg, each toon that you want to have access to that is going to have to go and grind that reputation. And it's the same they're stating when it comes to certain things like the Aldor versus the Scryer reps that were in the Burning Crusade. They're again toon specific as to why you want to be exalted with one of those factions, and your covenants. Now, covenants are very unique as altogether with learning the transmogs, the mounts, but you also are able to transfer toons between the covenants, and at the same time there are certain things that does make it very feel like it's a very personal choice for that particular toon. Why do you join the Kyrian? Why do you join Ardenweald, etc.? Seems to be more character specific, so that won't be of a benefit of the shared reputations across your account. But you can see why. There are reasons for it, and obviously they did also make it clear that this is not going to take effect from the day that War Within drops. They have mentioned that there will be a few that are being converted right away from Dragonflight, which are the renowned reputations, and some of the standard ones that we are grinding right now. But when it comes to older expansions, it's going to take them some effort and it's time consuming, so it's going to be a while to implement. So again, I think they said this when they first announced War Within, that they'd like to have reputation account wide and they are working on it, but it won't be right off the gate. It's going to be some time before we have benefit of going all the way backwards to classic and having all those reputations coming across. So there's still some things to iron out for them on their side. There's things for us to understand on our side, as well as with the war bands, because the war bands are going to be unusual to get used to because they'll be sharing a bank as well, where you'll be able to keep all of your treasures of value, like crafting materials, things along those lines, where they will scroll down. They will be sharing it with each other, with currency, all your gold. And the nice thing about it is, with sharing of currency across your accounts, you'll also be able to share currency we currently keep per character on our tabs, which I don't know how many times some people have said, I wish I could send Dragon Isle supplies to an alt who needs some alts in order to start leveling through. You can't do that right now. There is no resource to allow that. But with Warband, it's going to allow you to easily transfer currency across your account to characters that need it. So that's really awesome. Hopefully they'll do this with older currencies as well, to assist. Obviously, again, probably not right out of the gate because it'll take them time to, figure this all out and work it all out. But it would be nice for anima transfers. It would be nice for overflow transfers. To help get those appearances or those items that you're needing from Dragonflight, which over elemental overflow, there are some of them that are locked to particular classes or a particular character that you need, and unfortunately, you don't have enough elemental overflow of elemental, or you don't have time to farm it, or you don't want to find it farm it because there's other stuff to do. This will help with the anima. It's the excess buildings, the specific extra buildings that your characters need. They take a lot of anima to update all the way, not to mention the transmogs, but it's the buildings. Getting them set up, having a full-fledged three or five tier maxed out special Queen's Conservatory, for example, takes a lot of anima to get. So there's nice parts to this. They'll also be sharing the Warband Bank. Again, it'll accumulate all of your gold across characters, so that'll help. There are the tabs, the Regent Bank, and then your Warband Bank itself, which looks like Guild to some extent, where there are tabs to be purchased. I will forewarn you that purchasing all 5 tabs for your Warband is expensive. The top maxed out Warband Bank is 5 tabs down the side, and the last tab costs 2.5 million gold. So it's a little pricey. But this will be great because it'll be accessed through all your tunes across the game. So if you're sharing crafting resources, if you're sharing gear, you'll be able to freely deposit, withdraw it here rather than having a friend across realms assist you with that, or using the mail process. So they've really thought ahead and really helped it, which is really, really great for that. One of the things in the conversion process that they did tell us will be a little different and will probably take some time for people to understand is the conversion of achievements. Your achievements will become account progressive wide, meaning it's no longer going to be all character specific. There will be some that stay character specific. One of the examples they named was the Insane in the Membrane achievement. Um, just so that you'll be able to go back, or even Memory of a Tedracell, where you'll be able to go back and have that purpose of saying, hey, this tune did this, or this tune was able to accomplish this for me for posterity purposes, but that's all it will be. Otherwise, it will be converted to account-wise progression. So again, it won't affect any of your rewards that you've already earned. Your number may go up, it may go down. I don't know how they're going to do that, but with conversion of achievements, there's going to be some changes made. But the nice thing is rewards like earning the portals for the Mythic Plus dungeons right now has been earned per tune progression. So if you wanted to have all the portals per character, that's a lot of work because that's, doing it multiple times, multiple tunes. However, now it will be easily accessible that one tune does it and the portals are available to everybody. So the Warband has some benefits here. It's really great. It's just going to take us probably a little bit of time to figure it all out, once they start implementing this. And I will forewarn you, it does say that some of these changes will be implemented during the pre-launch event, which I'm not sure how much of it will take effect. But if you're like me and you have an army full of alts, there might be a little bit of time to see everything be upgraded and updated on your ends, but that's kind of cool. I do like this idea of sharing items and gear with your Warband bank so that other tunes can access it freely. So that's really great. And the fact that they're thinking of progression across your account, not just per tune, because it's a player behind all of these tunes on one account. It's a lot to manage, but it would be nice to see them considering this so that alt friendliness going forward is going to be something Blizzard is taking to heart. So that's awesome. But yeah, those and more were shared today on the upgrade updates from Blizzard. It is available at their website. At the top there, you'll see blizzard.com. They do the highlights of what needs to be known now, what's being shown on the alpha testing. Beta testing is open if you want to sign up and take a gander over there to see what's coming, what will all be entailed. But for now, we have quite a bit to look forward to, especially with our transmog collection being enhanced, and how that works is something that I know a lot of us have been waiting for. So this is all just great news for people like me who have an alt army for collecting appearances and mounts and going after the achievements. This will really help a lot of individuals. And as far as guild banks go, which a lot of us have banking specific tunes, I don't really know how that's going to affect if it's only the specific characters that you link to your warband or if it's going to be all of it. But there will probably be a point where you can decide whether or not you need to have your banking tunes or they're just excess storage for you. We'll have to see how it goes. But this was quite an interesting um, part preview part, what we already knew was coming that Blizzard shared with us today. So that's really it. That's what we know so far, and more will be revealed as it comes. So I don't want to go into any spoilers that may or may not already have been shown. Wowhead has released some preliminary previews, not finalized, but they are spoilers, and I'm not going to go into that. So I hope this helped. We'll probably share more as we go and more developments come from Blizzard, but that's all I wanted to go over today was just a little bit of info of what was shared and what's in store. So if you weren't excited yet for The War Within, hopefully you are. And hopefully we'll get more news and it will get everybody looking forward to its launch sometime later this year. So thanks for coming, thanks for watching, and I'm going to share this video so it'll be here if you need to go back to it. Otherwise, I wish you all a great day. Bye!